So a few days ago, on June 1st, Ukraine had an incredible historical attack, a real interesting Trojan horse-style attack on different Russian airfields. And we'll quickly talk about the details of that attack, but most importantly, I want to have a discussion about what Taiwan and the United States can learn from this. My name is Topher. I'm an American combat veteran. I live here in Taiwan in beautiful Kaohsiung, and I make videos about living in Taiwan as a foreigner. But I also make a lot of videos about geopolitics and the military. So let's quickly go over the details about what Ukraine did and why it was so impressive. Operation Spider's Web is about 18 months in the making. And what it was is Ukraine smuggled in roughly 140 FPV, first-person view attack drones, armed with explosives. They smuggled them in shipping containers that were like housing units, like a shipping container converted into a house. They were up in the roof, and the top of the roof was solar panels, and underneath all the solar panels is where the attack drones were waiting and hiding. All these shipping containers were already inside of Russia when unwitting Russian truck drivers, independent drivers, were contracted to pick them up and drive them to airfields, and, well, not to airfields, but near airfields, and drop them off nearby. The solar panel roofs dropped off, and the FPV attack drones started flying up and attacking Russian bombers. And Russia's bomber fleet is aging. All of these bombers that were attacked were manufactured during the Soviet Union era. Russia's actually lost the capability to manufacture these types of bombers. They haven't made any new ones in a long time. One of the most valuable planes that was destroyed was a Russian A-50. This is similar to an AWACS. It's an intelligence gathering plane. And I think that leaves Russia with only 3 operational A-50s. Each of these drones costs about $4,000, and the cost of these bombers that the drones destroyed were like over $200 million, like somewhere between 2 and 300 million. It's an estimate. So just an enormously cost-effective attack. Ukraine claims they destroyed 41 bombers. Russia claims they destroyed 9. Based on the latest satellite image that civilians have access to, it looks like it's somewhere between 25 and 30. At any rate, it's somewhere between a quarter and a third of Russia's bombing fleet is gone. It's destroyed in just one attack. So what can we learn from this attack? Well, the big lesson is that just being far away from the front line isn't a good enough defense anymore. Other countermeasures have to be put in place to guard strategic assets. Countermeasures against drones need to be put in place as soon as possible. I think this is an issue where we don't have the luxury of time. The US and Taiwan can't wait to form committees and come up with the best possible solution that can be implemented 2 or 3 years from now. No. Whatever vulnerabilities that we know we have, we need to put in something in place. And whether that's arming guards with anti-drone rifles that shoot out microwaves or jamming signals, or drones that can do the same thing, anti-drone drones. It takes some time and it's a little costly to build hardened hangars. I still think it's a good idea to do that, but it's not the only solution. If these Russian bombers were under just like camo nets, those nets would have prevented the drones from reaching the bombers. Now, an explosion from that distance would still do some damage, but it might not have completely destroyed the aircraft. So even a low-cost solution like a net can be somewhat of a defense. I mean, it's much better than nothing. Now, I don't really want to scare anybody out there, but the reality is that someone who has the right knowledge and the right training can build a fairly small explosive device, something like 300-400 grams, that can easily destroy or severely damage a very expensive jet, something worth hundreds of millions of dollars. So that kind of dangerous knowledge combined with cheap drones, well, Ukraine's already shown what that can do. So, I think maybe Taiwan and the US might want to rethink exactly who's able to buy drones and where they're allowed to be flown. Just something to take a look at. Might also be a good idea to either invest in machines that can actually like sniff out, they actually sample the particles in the air for explosives, are dogs that are trained to do the same thing. We're definitely entering the world of asymmetric warfare, and we are in a Cold War. And a country like the US in particular, an attack like that could happen against an airbase, and we don't really know who would be responsible. It could be a terrorist group, it could be some independent lunatic, it could be a state actor, another government. It's just something that we need to be especially vigilant of. One of the funniest things of all of this was this video of these Russian soldiers taking selfies of themselves filming the attacks. And they didn't have any defense against the drones. They didn't have any way to stop them. They're armed with assault rifles, and that's basically a miracle shot to try and shoot down a small moving drone, something like a bird with an assault rifle. So lessons learned for Taiwan and the US, I think at a minimum, taxied aircraft need to be under some sort of netting. Guards need to be equipped with proper weapons to defend against drones. Many countries are actually even developing lasers, or direct energy weapons, and Israel's actually successfully used them. I really like the idea of using these instead of something like a shotgun, because the ammunition is just energy, so it's very, very cheap. Now, we're not 100% sure how Ukraine was able to pilot these drones deep inside Russia. The leading theory right now is that they were somehow able to use Russia's own cell phone network, whether that was an operator inside Russia using it or they somehow hacked into it from outside. Either way, that type of vulnerability needs to be addressed too. I'm not smart enough to know exactly how to do something like that, but someone out there is. Now, you may have noticed in this drone footage that there's a lot of Russian bombers that have tires stacked on the back of them. Apparently, the Russians were doing this to try and trick AI, any autonomous cruise missiles, from not understanding that it's a bomber, that's something else. I don't think that's a really good defense. I think a much better defense, like I said, was camouflage netting, or that plus decoy aircraft, decoy weapons. Ukraine actually uses a lot of decoy weapon systems. And Russia's been targeting these and wasting expensive missiles and munitions on weapons that, well, they're not actually weapons. They're just cardboard and plastic. Fake jets, fake artillery, fake radar. And I think this idea of using decoy weapons is another defense that Taiwan can easily use. I'm sure there's something that Taiwan already uses, but I would encourage them to continue and maybe expand on any decoy weapon system programs that they already have. It just confuses enemy intelligence, enemy spies. And in a worst case scenario, the enemy would be wasting expensive missiles on just chunks of cardboard and plastic. I think it's really important that we're not just vigilant with military installations, but all sorts of critical infrastructure. I mean, just this month, it was discovered how Chinese-made solar-powered inverters have secret kill switches, remote kill switches. And just a few days ago, some Chinese scientists entering the US were discovered smuggling in samples of a fungus which is very deadly to wheat fields. So we can't get complacent about our security. Like my sergeant major would always tell us while we were in combat in Iraq, the real enemy is complacency. Complacency kills. Now, I don't want to scare anybody. I don't want to make anyone paranoid, but the reality is if we're going to stay safe, we need to brainstorm and think about these threats and talk about them so we can think of countermeasures. After all, the best way to solve a problem is to prevent it from even happening. So if you have any ideas about preventative measures that we can take, any policies or tactics or anything like that, let me know in the comments. Let's start a discussion. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And please share it with anyone who you think is interested in this type of stuff. Hey, a giant thanks to you for watching the video all the way till the end. And a big thanks to my channel members. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Stay safe out there. I'll see you.